Welcome to the What to Expect While Fostering and Adopting podcast show. If you're a foster mom, on the journey to adoption, already adopted, or somewhere in the middle, trying to figure out how to navigate the foster care system, wanting to grow your family through adoption, trying to balance everything, or stuck in that space of all things unknown, you're in the right place. What if there was a way to fast track your knowledge, prepare you for the good and the hard, and somebody who could answer that long list of questions I know you have? Hi friend, I'm Christine Marie, biblical mindset coach, adoptive mom, and previous foster parent of 77 children. Yep, you heard that right, 77 kiddos. I'm your host, and my goal is to help make your journey a lot easier by sharing my best tools, techniques, and skills that helped me pivot from foster care to adoption, fully surrender, and trust the process. I'm about to bring some calm to the chaos and show you how to navigate through this journey with a whole lot of grace. So go grab your cup of coffee and let's jump in. So I am so excited. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I absolutely love Christmas. I love the entire month of December. And I especially loved when we had our foster kiddos and being able to take a really tough, challenging situation such as the holidays away from their biological family and just try and make it as special as possible for them and such a memorable holiday. Today we're going to be talking about preparing for Christmas with your foster kiddos. When we took our first foster child, I remember our reimbursement rate was maybe around $200, $250 per month. She was young and she came with nothing. So we spent more than her full reimbursement rate on getting her clothing and the essentials. I mean, I remember even the first day we got her, we spent over $200 on a car seat, and we were always spending more money than we got for her. So imagine you adding Christmas or birthday or anything like that can be a really big strain on any family, especially if you have more than one foster kiddo. For my husband and I, my husband was working full time and I was a stay-at-home mom with our two young boys. They were both toddlers. So adding on one and then two foster kiddos, I learned a few different tips that you can use to help bless these foster kiddos and make Christmas a lot more memorable, even if you are on a tight budget. Now, once we started taking in kiddos with special needs, and as we had become foster parents for many years, that was quite a different situation because the reimbursement rate for special needs kiddos is much higher. So if you are Christmas on a budget and you're much like me when we first started fostering, I wanted to share with you some ways that you can find resources and donations of Christmas presents for your foster kiddos. The first resource always is asking the child's caseworker if they have any access to organizations or groups that you could put your foster child on a list to receive additional Christmas presents from. Also, connecting with your certification department or the person who placed the certification for you to be a foster parent with your family, asking them for resources. Ask both. Honestly, the more the merrier, the more places that you can help find resources for your foster child is just going to ensure that they have an even better Christmas. And if you get too many gifts, don't worry, we will cover that in a second. The other place you can check with is your state foster parent association. So look them up on the internet or ask your certification department if there's even some county organizations. A lot of times in bigger metropolitan cities, you can find like a state and a local county organization that you can make connections with. And those are great places. When I was a foster parent, I was also the liaison. There is a very famous mattress company out there that does a lot of nonprofit work for foster children. And so I was a volunteer with them and would help collect and distribute Christmas gifts and school supplies and all kinds of things. So you guys, there is plenty of resources out there for foster kiddos, for the holiday season, for the school supply season, all of those things. So make sure that you connect with your caseworker, your certifier, certification department, your state or local foster parent association, and connect with them early, I would definitely start asking around the time of Thanksgiving or early December for resources. The next thing I wanted to share is choosing gifts for the emotional age of your child. A lot of times on these forms, right, you get what is the age and the name of the child that you're going to submit to the caseworker, the certifier, or the foster parent association for gift requests for Christmas, right? And they're going to ask the gender, the name, and then the age. A lot of times, kiddos who come into foster care have suffered extreme trauma, and they possibly are a different emotional age. Feel comfortable if you do submit these requests to put the emotional age, like you could put both. You could put their physical age and then put the emotional age on there. So a lot of times our kiddos would be anywhere between 2 and 4 years younger emotionally than they were physically. So in the beginning, I would put like their age on there. Boy, 9. Then what we would end up getting for donations would be like a skateboard or a basketball or a football or different things that would be maybe more age appropriate for a 9-year-old. But even though our 9-year-old was 9, he was more like 5 or 6 emotionally. So those weren't things that he was necessarily interested in. And then so for the first couple of years, I noticed that some of the gifts where I was super appreciative, but they weren't things that I could give to my foster kiddo because they just weren't appropriate. I would encourage you to look at not only shopping for the emotional age of your child, but also if you are looking for resources for Christmas, if you're on a budget and utilizing resources that are available to you, to also place the emotional age of the child on the form. Another thing too, as we get into the month of December and then planning for the holidays, if this is your first year as a foster parent, I just want you to know it's going to be way busier than you ever imagined. Typically around the Christmas season, caseworkers try and get in extra visits with these foster kiddos and their biological families. And so things are just a little more busy. And then you also imagine you're setting up, you're doing your own family things, lots of family coming in, or just if you imagine all the things, right? And kids are going to be home because there's no school. What I would encourage you to do is to begin making freezer meals at the very beginning of December, at least for 2, 3, 4 days worth of maybe dinners that you can make and then freeze and put them away. So that if you do have those days, maybe like Christmas Eve, the day before, where there might be unexpected additional visits or things are just a little bit hairy, as a mom, you can pull one of these meals out of the freezer and it's no stress because it's already done. So even if you want to put a full week's worth of meals aside and you want to give yourself a week of just enjoying the kiddos and no stress of making dinner, that's another great idea. Another thing, when we were foster parents in the beginning, like I said, this was a little bit challenging. We did ask for additional help with resources for gifts and whatnot for our foster kiddos. And so what we did notice is, let's say they would give us like 3 to 4 gifts for each foster kiddo, which is amazing. But I'm a numbers person. I don't necessarily look at the value of the gift, like how much I spent. Some people do like a budget of dollars. I did a budget of number of gifts per person. And so if, let's say, the caseworker was giving me 3 gifts, or I got a donation of 3 gifts, but I had already bought each of the kiddos 3 gifts, then for the first few years, I noticed I was scrambling because I was like, oh my gosh, it's not even now. So I have 3 gifts for each of them, plus the caseworker just gave me 3 more gifts for each of them. So now I have 6 gifts for the foster kiddos and 3 gifts for my biological kids. So I needed to go get 3 more gifts for my biological kids. So it was just even number wise. I just want to give you permission that if you're like me, you're going to want to make sure all of it is organized, but you can take some of these gifts if you do have an amazing resource that does bless your family with, more gifts than you need. You do have permission to take some of those gifts and put them aside for a birthday or a special holiday or a special celebration, or even give them to the biological parents for them to give to the kiddos. You can even donate them to another foster family. You can give them back to the caseworker. But I am giving you the permission right now that everything you get for your foster kiddo, you don't need to give them that at Christmas. You can save them for the next holiday for them or the next birthday. It's okay to do that and not run around like a crazy person like I was on Christmas Eve trying to make all the numbers match up. I just want to throw that out there because I know some of you, this is going to happen and you're going to think, oh no, like I did. Another thing, Christmas gifts, wrapping. So at that one point when my husband and I had our 2 biological kids, our 2 adoptive daughters, our 7 foster kiddos. You guys, that year I remember because that was one of the years that we had 11 gifts per kiddo. That is over 100 gifts that I had to wrap. Oh my goodness. I think I barely slept Christmas Eve. Christmas morning, I was a walking zombie all day, and I definitely did not enjoy the holiday as much as I should have and could have. Here's my tip. Ask a family member or hire a local teenager to help you wrap gifts a few days before. Trust me, you're going to be so busy, even if you only have 2 foster kiddos. You're going to be so busy with all the stuff that happens that you didn't expect prior to Christmas that you're probably going to be sleep deprived. And I don't want you to miss the moments on Christmas that you're going to want to be there for. Every single year, I was so tired on Christmas. I wanted to do all the wrapping myself. I'm going to encourage you to ask a family member or hire a teenager to help you wrap those gifts a few days before so you can have a more peaceful Christmas. If you are not a foster parent yet, or you're a foster or adoptive parent with extra time on your hands and a servant's heart, I wanted to share something my husband and I did in case one of you wants to do something similar. As I mentioned before, my husband and I would get these amazing donations and resources of gifts for our foster kiddos. Now, they were always amazing and I was always so grateful and so appreciative, but the true, financial struggle in the beginning was because our foster kiddo had a very specific big gift that they wanted. You know what I'm talking about? Like the big Christmas gift they want. And I wanted to be able to say yes. I know if you're a foster parent or an adoptive parent, we always want to say yes. So what my husband and I did is we thought, you know what, how amazing would it be if we could ask these foster parents to give us the one big gift that their foster child wanted for Christmas. And if we could go find businesses that we could put Christmas trees up in their lobby and then put hang tags for this big gift for this child on a tree and watch the community rally behind these foster parents. That was the dream, that was the vision, and it all came from getting that amazing bag of gifts. It was a great gift, right? But it wasn't the one gift. And we wanted to be able to bless these foster families with that one gift so we could show them how amazing their Christmas could be and just how supported they are. Eventually, we had Christmas trees in multiple businesses in our city, and we received at one point up to 300 gifts that were the big gifts that these kiddos wanted for Christmas. And I can't tell you how amazing and incredible it was. And even at those drive-through coffee shops that they couldn't put a Christmas tree in, they would put the hang tag of the child on the windows. And you guys, the communities want to help and support the foster care system and the children in the system. They want to do it. And especially at the Christmas season, it was such a blessing to be able to do that. And if there are people that when you're hearing this and you're thinking, I want to do that, hop in my Facebook group, let me know that you're interested in doing that, and I can share with you the steps that we took in order to do that. As we ended up taking more higher needs kiddos, this was an amazing opportunity for us to not need to do Christmas on a budget, but just really be able to bless other families who were beginning their foster care journey, and Christmas was a strain. I'm excited for I feel like so many of you are going to take me up on this and want to try this out and see how this works in your community. So I hope that you love this episode, and I hope you found some useful tips in here that will help you, whether you are on a Christmas budget or not, preparing for Christmas with your foster kiddos. Hey friend, I hope that you loved today's episode. I pray it blessed you and helped you see that you have a friend in your corner who truly understands what you're walking through. If so, would you share this episode with someone who's been praying for a breakthrough in their own journey? It would also bless me big time and help others to find this podcast if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also submit your questions, topics that you would like covered, and find a community of like-minded mamas in my private Facebook group by searching What to Expect While Fostering and Adopting on Facebook. See you next time.